So I'm pleased to be here to talk to you about Elevate Uranium and our story in Namibia and Australia. So we have 160 million pound globally. 2/3 of that is in the great jurisdiction of Namibia, just north of here. We enjoy the country very much so, and then the other third of our uranium is in one of the best mining jurisdictions in the world, Australia. So when you look at our board, our chairman sitting down the front row, our other director sits in Perth at the moment, and myself. So there's just three of us. We're not top heavy. We've got a small number of directors, the minimum you need. We've got two senior management in terms of executives, a CFO and myself. So again, we spend the money we get from investors on the ground, adding value and not on directors or executives' pockets. Some of our biggest shareholders now, we just did a placement back in end of last year, and a couple of the companies involved are in the audience here today. Thanks for their contribution. We've now got 32% of our shareholding is in institutions, which is a big increase from where we had, and Paradise sit at 9.9%. Paradise are one of the bigger investors in uranium, and obviously can see the story that we have as we move forward in our life. So what we have, we've got the upgrade process we developed a number of years ago. It's a process that reduces the operating cost, capital cost, reduces the mass to be leached, and now we've got a project to apply it to. The Koppies Project is 66 million pound at the project, 56 million pound in the resource itself. 78% of that's in indicated. So that's our first de-risking stage. We're now looking to take this project into production, and so the next step is applying upgrade to it, and that's what we're looking to do. Plus, we have the largest land position for nuclear fuels in Namibia, so we'll continue to discover on that. We've made 4 discoveries in a period of 4 years, so we think we can add to those discoveries and add significantly more pounds to our Koppies project, which will either increase the life or increase the production rate per annum. So our upgrade process was developed in-house. What it does is it reduces the mass to be leached by being a little bit counterintuitive. So what we do is we focus on the gangue minerals, we concentrate those and we throw them away. That's a little bit unusual for people to get their head around. Most people concentrate on the valuable commodity and focus on that all the way through the process. But we're looking at getting rid of the clay, getting rid of the calcite. And the very last stage is the only stage that we look at increasing the grade of the uranium by focusing on uranium itself. So what it does is it reduces the mass to be leached. It increases the grade by about 50 times going to the leach circuit. And as a consequence, we end up with a very, very small leach. So if you look at this diagram, you can see down the bottom is sort of conventional processing of calcretes in Namibia. You look at the top line, and you can see a very, very small blue series of tanks. That's a sort of comparison between our leach circuit versus conventional. So you can imagine if your leach circuit's that small, your capital costs are going to be substantially less. Your operating costs are going to be substantially less. Your refinery is still going to be the same size because you're the same number of pounds going in, but you're going in at a lot higher grade from solution. So there's a lot of cost savings through the circuit. I don't have the time today to feed through all of them. And the good thing is the time is reading 0, so I can keep talking all day by the look. So we have got plenty of scope to reduce the cost, both capital and operating, in the way that we have approached this upgrade process. So then what we've done feeding into the demonstration plant we're going to do this year is we've dug some test pits in Namibia. And if you've not seen carnotite before, uranium mineral, that's what it looks like. How exciting is that colour? I love the colour of carnotite. I usually wear a yellow tie to reflect the carnotite, but this year I thought I'd go with the theme of an African tie. But certainly it's a magnificent colour. It's as good or better than gold. And when you're a metallurgist like I am, and you see that in a test pit, you get very excited, knowing that if you can see it, you can recover it and concentrate it. So we're very excited about what is leading into this test work and then through into our pilot plant stage. So then the other thing about, so Koppies Project, we've got upgrade to add value to it. But you look at the shallow nature of the ore. 50% is within 7 metres of surface and 95% is within 18.5 metres of surface. That is like, go and get your wheelbarrow and shovel stuff. The mining costs are going to be very low. The strip ratio is going to be very low. So, you know, when you put upgrade and the shallow nature of the ore together, we think we've got a pretty good project at Koppies. So we have the largest land position for nuclear fuels in Namibia. If you add all the other players together, Paladin, Bannerman, Deep Yellow, all the names, Rossing, combined, they're less than us. Now, that's a large land position, yes, but when you're only spending $1,000 a hole to drill and $1,500 a hole, if you add all of our costs in Namibia onto it, that's inexpensive exploration. We made 4 discoveries in Namibia from 2019 to 2023. We're waiting for a few more tenements to be granted, and we think we'll add to that. So we've got plenty. We've proved that we can find uranium, and we think we can find more in the future. So more discoveries leads to and inexpensive discoveries, and we found Koppies and 56 million pound for 6.8 cents a pound in the ground. That's an exceptionally low number, and I don't think anybody could ever say that. I don't know whether we'll repeat it, but it certainly reflects on how inexpensive it is to find uranium in Namibia and how successful we've been. So we want to continue with that success. We think we can add a lot of value to the company. As I say, more pounds gives us a longer life of mine, or it gives us a higher production per annum. So we focused on the 2 areas, the Koppies Project area down the south and the central Orongo area up around the north. Namibia is a fantastic jurisdiction. Tier 1 uranium mining jurisdiction. Sovereign risk of uranium processing or mining in Namibia is less than Australia, simply because a very supportive industry. Only country in the world with a dedicated uranium association, and also 48 years of processing, continuous processing at Rossing. So no other country in the world can say that they've ever run continuously in uranium for that period of time. So there's a lot of history there. There's 2+ generations of Namibians familiar with uranium. So it's a fantastic jurisdiction to be in. So the Koppies Project, we think we're going to be in the top 10 producers in the world, 66 million pound and growing. And those, when I put an asterisk on that, top 10 producers outside of Russia and Kazakhstan. But certainly, to get to 3 million pound per annum puts you well and truly in the top 10. So that's where we're aiming to be. We've stopped drilling at the Koppies resource itself now. The focus has moved to the demonstration plant, construction of that, and then operating that later this year. But we're still drilling down at Hirabeb to add to the 10 million pound resource. We're still drilling at Namib 4 to add to that resource. And we've got exploration happening around the other tenements as well. So we're looking to increase the life of the Koppies Project. So from a timeline perspective, the pilot plant or the demonstration plant is the contract's been let. It's been awarded in Perth. We're going to design, construct it in Perth, move it to Namibia and operate in Namibia later this year on the Koppies ore in particular, but also we might operate on some of our other ores that we've got over there. We'll continue exploration programs and in Namibia, and we think it's also probably time that we paid a bit of our attention to our Australian assets. There's 48 million pound there. We did have an excuse for 3 or 4 years while COVID was around that we couldn't get to them, but now I think it's time to put a bit of money into them and certainly add significant value to those projects and to the company. So in summary, we've got a large global resource. We've got industry-leading cost profile with our upgrade process. We've got a proven discovery team, and we've got 4 discoveries, I said, in Namibia in a 4-year period. We're growing. We had 60 million pound added in the last 2-3 years, and we're positioned for success. I mean, what better time to be in the uranium industry as this one? We're seeing the global consumption for uranium likely to increase dramatically due to AI. The consumption of power by AI is enormous. Apparently by 2030, I think 12% of the US's electricity will be consumed by data centers. You're seeing Google, Amazon, all those signing contracts for off-grid power from nuclear. So we've got growth in terms of the nuclear industry and uranium, not only by the 430 odd reactors around the world that haven't got enough uranium to supply them now. We're seeing future demand growing. We're not like the lithium bubble where it was really on future demand. Uranium is on current demand, and then there's a future demand as a large upside. So it's easy to see the uranium price going in excess of $150 a pound this year, and see what happens if I'm standing here next year and it's not 150. I might get booed. But if it's 200, you'll all be pretty happy because you've bought Elevate shares. So thanks very much for listening to me. I appreciate your time. And any questions, just drop by the booth or come and see us afterwards for a drink. Happy to answer questions as they arise. So thank you.